Tenet 19. Every energetic occurrence and all that leads to it is knowable. There exist infinite knowable things. That is a restatement of the original tenet. Gods, ghosts, and aliens cause so much trouble on this planet. We cannot be sure what or how they do what they do, but very strange things happen. These events are energetic events and can be understood this way unless you believe that there is something other than matter moving in this universe. We can prove that matter is moving. I am not concerned with the acts of gods, that is obviously the universe doing its thing. Ghosts, on the other hand, are pretty interesting. I will say now that there should be trillions of apparitions for all the lives that have been, and they are not in our faces every day. So, until that beautiful day when one gets in mine, I will keep watching shows that look for truth in anomalous, energetic patterns that reside within non-living objects. If you do not know how something works and it affects you in how you live your life, you really should study that aspect of the universe with no bias toward believing one thing or another. This is called objective thinking, or the scientific method. There is always an explanation for every energetic occurrence. If something causes energy to move, then its cause is some other form of energy. Everything is knowable. We just cannot know everything at every moment. Your brain wants to believe that some things are not knowable. It is wrong. Everything exists in this universe and works to move and change everything else. There are valid explanations for the stories we tell and the things that we experience. Everything happens energetically. If your gods and phantoms exist, they are moving the energy in this universe and we are noticing. It all amounts to prove the tenet that everything is knowable. We just do not possess the capabilities to know everything about every moment. If this makes any sense to you, then you may come to realize that you can know pretty much anything that humans have created and how we did it, unless your brain really does not work properly. We have prescription drugs for you. Since there have been an infinite number of energetic occurrences, there are an infinite number of knowable things. I feel like I may start to lose you here. You may ask why this matters at all. This is here to point out that everything that has occurred has done so naturally and can be understood. From one moment to the next, every change causes something else to change. To us, these look like patterns. We understand simple changes that we have come to understand. But this whole pattern of life and where it came from and what it means and all the ghosts and gods and creation is a big assemblage, complex or construct, of patterns that we have trouble with. We think it is so overwhelming that something else must have done it, and we stop thinking about it again. People get crazy inside when they think about it. All of a sudden, nothing makes sense and nothing can be explained. There is always an explanation. Why do people behave the way they do? I have been trying to explain that it is because of their ignorant past. I tried to think of a different word than ignorant, but we have ignored so much that I think it can stay. We have never believed that everything is knowable. We have always thought that we just cannot know some things. So what do? We invent a bunch of other things to know that prove to us that nothing is knowable. Do you see what I am up against here? Picture anything that you think of that you cannot possibly understand. Then understand that you can, because whatever it is that you pictured was some aspect of this universe and changes occur within it. I will tell you this. Discussing God's changes is a moot point and is just being used to control you. Wake up, please. If this hurts you, then there is something to it that you, yes you, need to figure out. It hurts because there is truth in it that does not agree with the truths you hold. Don't look at me. We tell each other that we don't know anything. This philosophy is overrated and solipsistic. We can know plenty. That is why I say that there are infinite knowable things. That is why this tenet is here. People consume themselves with unknowable things instead of consuming themselves with the infinite number of knowable things. In fact, the unknowable things seem to take priority in the minds of humans on this planet. So nice to remember. We dwell so much on things that are impossible to know. They are impossible to know, mainly because they do not exist at all. If they existed, then they would be knowable. So, everything is knowable. Why people believe in crazy stuff is knowable. Why Johnny killed Susie is knowable. Why the house where 1,000 brutal murders took place shakes on every anniversary is knowable. Whether we live past this life is knowable, to which the answer seems clear enough to not experiment. Why you are the way you are is knowable. When you tell someone that something cannot be known, you are dumbing that person down. You may not understand something like this book, but that is because you do not understand it and not because it cannot be understood. Everything is out there for you to understand everything else. You cannot just sit there and tell yourself that you understand. You must make sure that you understand through rigorous questioning and experimentation. Everyone of sound brain can understand anything that occurs in this universe. We can know a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. In that, we are great. Every energetic occurrence is knowable for the reason that every energetic occurrence occurred energetically. The universe moves, things happen. From here, we can research all that we can see in the universe that led to an energetic event. I include this tenet because so many believe that we cannot know everything. Many go so far as to say that we cannot be sure of anything. This, of course, is a natural progression of acquiring knowledge. One must first doubt everything that one thinks they know in order to take on new knowledge. Do not be afraid. Some knowledge is just wrong and brutal, and you need to do something about it or be its victim. Who wants to be a victim of their own brain? You ever get the feeling that you know exactly what is about to occur? How you know exactly what a person is going to say and more or less how a person is going to say it? That is because you do. Your brain processes more information than you can possibly be aware of, and it delivers bits and pieces to you. It picks up many energetic patterns that you are not aware of until you are. This is the exciting part of what is knowable. You can know a lot about a person by looking at them very closely. You take in how people move, how they sound, every pattern that their body emits, and you can determine a lot from all that. You can predict many things that are real and right in front of you. You can know how patterns will change in the future if you tune in to how they have developed in the past. Once you admit that things are knowable and predictable, many things will start to look very familiar. When you know the universe around you, you can predict the universe's movements from one moment to the next. This is because we are the universe experiencing itself, sensing itself, perceiving itself, and acting upon itself. We are calculating ourselves all the time, in wakeful hours and in sleep. Our awareness of this comes and goes as we are that awareness. Your brain takes it all in and gives you some directive. You may now tell it what you want. If we tell ourselves that we cannot know anything about our existence, then we are more lost than we actually are. We must proceed with knowledge and trust in what we see in the universe and not in what we do not see.